Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and at the request of an anonymous Patreon subscriber, I am playing something sweaty that I think is good for Eternal Weekend. That was the challenge given by the anonymous donor, and I have chosen Izzet Delver. The donor has also asked for a shout out for trans rights, which I'm always happy to give. With that said, why Izzet Delver? Why is this the first full league that I am playing after the November 10th, 2025 ban update that hit Nadu and Entomb? Izzet Delver was already a sneaky good pick in the metagame. It did extremely well at the DMV Legacy Open and Invitational, which happened on the very last 2 days, November 8th and 9th, before the bans changed. Izzet Delver made a deep run at Eternal Weekend. It had an interesting meta spot where it was kind of bad versus Reanimator and very bad versus Nadu, but incredible versus Mystic Forge. Being able to stick something with 3 power and then back it up with protection against Ancient Tomb decks is a really big deal. That puts them on the back foot immediately. These Mystic Forge decks, the Eldrazi decks, the Red Stompy decks, all those decks that use their life total directly as a resource to cast their spells. Especially with the wall of free permission that Delver gets to play. Obviously 4 days for Force of Will in the main deck, Force of Negations in the board. You could even play some main if you want to. Consign to Memory, Hydroblast, Pyroblast, Meltdown, Price of Progress. Just the bangers out of the sideboard to punish every matchup in huge ways. This deck was already pretty good before the bans, and its 2 poor matchups in the top 3 of the metagame were banned, leaving only its phenomenal matchup. This is a great place to be. It's also just generically good to be proactive when we don't know what the format is. If you're the one trying to figure out what removal spells and what counter spells you need to make your flex slots in a control deck, you are basically guessing into the void because we don't have an established metagame yet. Delver doesn't ask those questions. It just asks, can you stop me before I deal 20? There's a bunch of customization you can do to this deck as well. Are you playing 2 or 3 Murktides? You could play anywhere between 0 and 4 Delvers. You could play 3 or 4 cori-steel cutter. I've seen lists that have 7 baubles in them with 4 cutters, and they skip the Delver entirely. Chain Lightning as a flex slot to go face versus Unholy Heat as a flex slot to kill bigger creatures sometimes. How many Brazen Borrowers you're playing? Do you want the 9th cantrip in the form of Preordain? Do you want the 10th cantrip in form of another Preordain? What do you want to target with the sideboard and how hard? All of these are things you can do. How many lands do you play? 18, 19? Do you play a basic island or a steam vents as the 6th land? There's tons of tiny decisions to make with this deck in the deck building process, and then the deck is defined by tiny decisions you make when you play it. This is a historically popular deck, a historically powerful deck. It's a well-positioned deck, and I think it's one that people will settle into quickly in a new undefined meta. And with that in mind, here we go. The first full league since the bans. This is Izzet Delver. I'm on the draw in round 1, and I am not going to rely on Mishra's Bauble to find a colored mana source to play the game with. I will be mulling this. Send it away. Opponent is also on 6 cards. I like this hand a lot better. This is weak to Wasteland, and if they force check me on turn 1, it's bad, but I have Daze for turn 2, and then we play on. When the one of Thundering Falls is in your opening hand, it's a pretty strong argument to play a Steam Vents instead, but any other time, it's a strong argument to play Thundering Falls. This is just the risk we run by playing one of these. And I am going to keep... What I bottom out of this hand is actually interesting. It seems like the Murktide is a slam dunk because it's the one that takes the longest to heat up. But I also have 3 cantrips here, where... How good is the 3rd cantrip over the first threat, especially if I cantrip and surveil my way up to a speedy Murktide? I think I actually am going to bottom Preordain in the spirit of that. My opponent says, hello YouTube, everyone say hi to Banguris. They're on a mull to 5 so far and still thinking about that. I wonder if we're in the oops bracket here. Another potential winner from the bans. It did not get banned itself, and 2 of its bad matchups were banned. Okay, definitely not oops. Could be the Epic Storm. That's a deck that plays Commercial District. Could be just some off-meta something or other, like Applejacks or Nick Fit. I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm wastelanding this. Force of Will, a huge draw here. They kept the card on top, which means they probably found their next land, or at least something to play the game with. My default guess is we're playing against Storm, but until they show me something different. Storm is not particularly popular, but anything else would be completely nonsense. Nonsense in terms of meta share, not necessarily nonsense in terms of their deck is nonsense, but I do just think that's the most likely thing we're playing against. Hey, now we can try to find out. Bobble, take a peek. Okay, definitely the Epic Storm, and there's an Echo of Eons. There's my second land, and we're in. Having Force and Daze versus this opponent with no mana and just drew a 6-drop is nice. Even if they go LED, land, Veil of Summer, Echo here, these are things I can beat. All right, here we go. Here comes the mana. Jamble. No gamble, no future. I hope to see Lion's Eye Diamond hit the graveyard, and we did. Okay, they definitely just lost that gamble. LED is the card that makes sense they would be gambling for there, and I'm glad to see it go. My hand is already really good. Like, brainstorming here, there's not a single card in my hand I would want to put away. I think what I'm actually going to do is ponder, and then play a land drop and pass, and just try to get to this Murktide Regent with Force Daze in the bank. Okay, this is actually interesting because most of these cards are not good in the matchup, but I'm actually going to take Chain Lightning and just go face here. I have to defeat my opponent, and the way I do that is by dealing 20 to them, and the primary way I do that is with Murktide Regent. I'd hit you with Lightning. Very, very frightening. And pass. I have double Force available with Murktide still in the bank. If they triple send this turn, which would be crazy from 3 cards, and we know one of them's bad. If they triple send this turn, it would cost me the Murktide to have Daze available. Or a Cutter. Okay, I could cast a 5/5 here and just pass. I could play Cutter and keep my interaction up. I'm actually going to go this way. Also, if I have to counterspell 2 things on their turn, that will trigger Cutter. Mox Opal, that's really good, actually. Not good enough to force, but really good. Brainstorm, alright, fine. They're starting to do something here. This is a Veil of Summer deck. It is a deck that can quickly convert no cards in hand to 7 cards in hand with Echo. Oh, that was sick. This is going to dump the Echo. They brainstormed it away, hit the land drop, put it in the bin. Cool. Sick play. A brainstorm. I'm going to put back Unholy Heat and Daze. Then Bobble will trigger Cutter. Play the land, Bobble you, which redraws the Daze, which keeps me with lots of counterspells in my hand. They're drawing Brainstorm. I suspect what's going to happen here is they will just play Echo out of the graveyard. All right, they're building Storm first. A Force of Will, exiling Daze on this. If they have Veil of Summer, I will force that as well. And then their hand will just be Brainstorm. I get a Monk off of this as well. Yeah, they did sculpt that extremely well to get to this point. And here's Brainstorm. They have to come up with another LED and another Echo. I don't know the top of my deck right now. If I draw a land, I could bash them for 1 million by re-equipping Cori-steel Cutter. Oh shit, I did know that. God damn it. I'm so bad at this game. Alright. I can add some action to the board though. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maximum size Murktide. Fetch. Bulk. Unholy Heat. Deal 2 damage to my Murktide, who can handle it. I am all in here. Yeah, that was just a huge miss. I definitely knew that card. Right. Op is dead on board, 1 card in hand. If it's Gamble, we might get echoed here. Like Gamble from a 0-card hand puts Echo straight into the graveyard and has exactly enough mana to cast it. Oh no, they actually don't because they lost Metalcraft. Okay, a little sloppy at the end there, but mostly happy with identifying what I was up against and playing correctly. Okay, the creature removal comes out. Unholy Heat, Chain Lightning can go face, Bolt can go face. I don't want to cut all of them. Consign to Memory can hit Storm triggers, as well as Mana Development. Hydroblast hits Burning Wish, and if they have the enchantment that they beseech for sometimes that draws 2 cards every time you cast a spell, it can hit that. Pyroblast hits Echo and Brainstorm. Yeah, maybe I just go 0 bolts and let the creatures do the talking here. Grafdigger's Cage turns off Echo. Okay, I do want that. I could shave a Bauble. That makes Delirium and Cutter both worse. And Meltdown's good in this matchup too. There's so many good cards in this matchup. What are the bad cards? Do I shave a cori-steel Cutter? That's kind of one of the more awkward ones, and I just cut most of my proactive spells I'm happy to cast. Fire Magic could clean up like an Empty the Warrens, but I'm not messing with that. Okay, I'm going to bring in these 9. I don't really need my basic island in this matchup either. If I had another card I was desperate to bring in. All right, force blue card threat. Done deal. Keep. Undercity Sewer. I do like the Wasteland, and I will play it at some point, but first I'm going to get my pressure on. My thoughts? Oh, coast is clear if you want to send something here. Okay, they took Ponder, which means that they'd rather roll the dice against me top decking any blue card, and I immediately reveal Daze. There is a sneaky play I could have made there, which is don't reveal for Delver, and then they don't know I have Daze and don't know I have the blue card, and maybe they shove into Force. But I do value just hitting them with their face more than I value that. All right, dump to Beseech the Mirror. I got plenty of lands this game. My thoughts once again seized. This time they took the Force. They're not messing around. They're at 11 already. We go to my turn looking for a good card. That's not it. I'm going to play the Thundering Falls out. Pyroblast. That's not bad. I'll put that on top. That stops Echo of Eons and stops future sculpting. Chrome Mox. Looks like it's go time. Dark Ritual. If they have Beseech, this is pretty clean. Burning Wish with 2 mana floating and 1 card left in hand. A Galvanic Relay puts a bunch of cards in the Necro Bubble. Okay, there's 4 of these. I could counter one of them. Right, Song of Creation exiled. Lion's Eye Diamond exiled. Scalding Tarn exiled. Yeah, I'll Daze the last one, just for good measure. I don't know if Daze is going to do anything next turn. But I do know Pyroblast can take out that Song of Creation. Opponents at 5. So if they go Fetch, Song, try to get something going with LED, I can blow them out. There's the Fetch. Down to 4. Dark Ritual. Okay. Looks like they have something better to do. Or are they just songing with black floating? Counter target spell if it's blue, that one. And they still have 5 mana with Burning Wish here, because the LED can sack for mana and Burning Wish doesn't get discarded because it's in exile. If there's another relay they can wish for, they could bank a million more cards. Okay, valuing the card in their hand over getting Burning Wish. All right. Well, I'll put you to 1, and I'm going to bobble myself. I'm looking for a counter spell here. I should Thundering Falls first, I think. Though if I see Brainstorm, I'd rather not. All right, Thundering Falls. This gives me more looks. Put that in the graveyard, because that actually controls what I'm looking at. Cori-steel Cutter, Fetch. Okay, they know I'm not happy with what I saw there. Can they get me at 1 life? There's a number of big draws. Pyroblast, Consign to Memory. Not that one. Okay, there's plenty of ways the Epic Storm could win. All right, Echo of Eons from Empty. Here we go. Big spin. I found a Force and 2 Brainstorms in that. They have a land that they didn't need to fetch to develop. LEDs on the stack. Lotus Petal. Veil of Summer. Gonna force that pitching Murktide. Gamble. Off we go. Let's see. Well, they already have the Lion's Eye Diamond, so they can get Echo no matter what here. Runehorn Hellkite. Hell yeah. I can't even interact with that one. That's an activated ability from the graveyard. Each player discards their hand and draws 7. Oh, they had to tap out to do that. Just Lotus Petal left. That's fine. How'd we do? Double Force. Pretty good. 7 cards in their hand. They've used their land drop, just Lotus Petal to play with right now. LED. Gamble is fine, because if they discard their hand to put Echo on the stack, then they can't fight back anymore. Hell yeah. Should I be disrespectful with the Daze? I'm going to be disrespectful with the Daze. Pew pew. We got the GGs. All right. Those were GGs. Opponent had a few good shots at it, and this Delver, just relentless, dealt 3 damage every single turn of this game, and opponent had their big shot at 1. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2 with a phenomenal hand. I'm going to keep it. I've got Force Blue card to stay alive. Turn 2 Cutter that's getting in there. Oh, here we go. All right. Can I pass the Force check? Do they have it covered? That second Dark Ritual is tough. All right. Force of Will pitching Murktide. Is there a pact over there? All right. They had more format knowledge than me this time around. All right, I'm just going to look at their deck, see what their build is about. Thassa's Oracle confirmed. Narcomoeba's in. Narcomoeba's in. Narcomoeba's in. And there we go. All right. Squeaky clean. 7-card keep from Soul Spells beat a Force of Will. Grafdigger's Cage, Consign to Memory, Pact of Negation, all coming in. The Unholy Heats, Chain Lightning, that sort of thing coming out. I guess 2 Lightning Bolts come out as well. Do I want Meltdown if we end up in a mid-game situation where they have some artifact mana? Probably not. Pyroblast can kill, or can counter Pact. Do I want any counterplay versus that? I don't think so. I think this is just what we're doing. All right, let's go. All right, I will keep this hand. I'm going to cast Ponder because I still have double force, even after spending a blue card. Daze, Ponder, Wasteland. I'm interested in all of these cards. Don't shuffle, and pass. Opponent also kept 7. We'll figure out what their pivot is, what their counterplay is. Yeah, just like getting duressed here is mostly fine. I think I want to Daze that, because that hides the information for the rest of them. And if they use a Spirit Guide to pay for that Daze, that's a mana they don't have. All right, dropping Lotus Petal after that. At the top of my deck right now is Wasteland, which I do kind of like. Duress. All right, go ahead, look. This time you can have a peek. I expect Force of Will go, and now Force of Negation has to pick. Okay, with me knowing that Wasteland is on top of my deck, this Daze actually seems kind of solid if it eats their Lotus Petal. Okay, so my thoughts are seized. I'm going to lose Force of Negation. Oh, they took Murktide. Okay, interesting. Leaving me with Force. They must be planning to just cast a creature then. I'm going to waste the land that they can't reanimate into a creature if they have Reanimate in their deck. Boggart Bog tapped. Ponder time. Consign to Memory, Delver, Lightning Bolt. All right, I do like all these cards. Pass. All right, they've passed back to me. Now I've got pressure. And I'm going to fetch away the Lightning Bolt. There was a possibility they ran out a unprotected Undercity Informer there to try to have a 2-turn line. It was nice to have the option, but I don't actually want it. Dragon's Rage Channeler on top of my deck. All right, the mythical 3 mana, the necessary amount to play Undercity Informer. And I get the double peak with Delver here. Delver sees Consigned to Memory. I would like to reveal that, actually. Though Cabal Therapy beats that, but I think that has to be okay. I can force the Cabal Therapy and then have the other Consign. Opponent's at 2. Yeah, that Lightning Bolt would have killed them here. They can't Thoughtseize anymore. They can't play any more lands. All right, here comes the Informing. And what have we got? To decide when I have to interact here. Pact, Pact, Pact. 3 packs accounted for. Do we see a Bridge from Below? Doesn't matter. I see a Charbelcher. What I'm going to do here is counter all 3 Narcomoeba triggers. And I get to Surveil 1. All right, they're conceding to that. Cool. That took a little too long for them to figure it out. On the draw, I could turn something like Cori-steel Cutter into Brazen Borrower, just +1 blue card in the deck, and they're both slow threats that don't help me survive turn 1, but being blue might actually be worth something. Do I need this pressure? I have all my creatures. Like, if I turn cori-steel cutter into a braid, this covers some fringe situations like a develop, inform, or pass, like just happened, or a belcher pass, which is also something their deck can do. I think I do value a braid more than cori-steel cutter. I have enough pressure, I just need to not die, and I'm going to try to cover the various situations that could happen. Force of Will, no land. If this had 2 forces, I think I'd be interested in it. Can I be interested in it anyway? They got a lot of discard in their deck. I'm going to mulligan. Okay, way better. Way better. I'm going to keep and bottom. And a braid is a unique effect if we end up in exactly one of those positions I described. I think I'm actually going to bottom Brainstorm. I could still force blue card cantrip, Grafdigger's Cage, and then a braid is here if that becomes important. Duress. I'm going to force that pitching Preordain, because Grafdigger's Cage covers so many things that could happen. Petal, do they have a second Duress? That would be really good. Or Ascend. That would be even worse. Okay. Grafdigger's Cage. I bought myself the turn to develop that. Now they have to remove this before they combo or go Belcher. Drawing Thundering Falls actually a huge middle finger because I wouldn't be worried about Belcher if this was an untapped land. Mana number 4. Oh god, do they have it? Beseech the Mirror. Okay, so they can use that to put Belcher into play right now. Alright, here's exactly the position I said. They do only have 1 mana. They would have to draw Lion's Eye Diamond here. Okay, now it doesn't matter. That's lucky. Okay. Force, bolt, force, don't shuffle, put the bolt into the graveyard. And now I can force a Lion's Eye Diamond if they draw it, or Dark Ritual, and I don't care about any other cards. Well, nice draw, but I have it covered. Okay, game on. I'm drawing a Force of Will. We got a sad face. Yeah, I know. It's a tight one. Braid that shit. Pass the turn. All right, we're down to 0, basically. They're under no pressure, but Belcher's down. They have no hand. I force blue card back. And we're basically restarting the game where both players are hellbent. But I have Grafdigger's Cage in play, which helps a lot. Okay, they hit their next land. Plenty of forces here. Delverino. Now I feel good. I felt okay, but slowly bleeding out before the Delver. Now I feel actively good. Delver gets a peek. It is Volcanic Island. I will not reveal that, and I don't want to draw it either. Another Tarn. That lets me do the peek trick again next turn. Okay, they have no spells this time. Delver looks at Consign to Memory. I would like to show that, and I would like to put it in my hand. Duress. I'm going to force a negation that. Consign to Memory just beats Belcher so hard, and that's the only thing I care about right now. Brazen Bee. That can double the clock. I'm interested in that. Getting this game over before they can thread the needle is what it's about right now, and cutting the clock in half is the way to do it. Okay, dead on board. They got to beat Force, Daze, Consign. Okay, they put that on the stack, then conceded before I could even daze it, but I wasn't going to let them have it, even though it doesn't matter. All right, format knowledge achieved. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3. Can't be afraid of a one-lander with this deck. I'm in. Opponent's on 6 cards and didn't play any of them. That's suspicious as hell. I'm going to lead on Dragon's Rage Channeler because that will make my Ponders and Brainstorms better next turn. Okay, they're clearly a combo deck. Missing the first one is kind of like, ooh, that's awkward. Was that a misclick? I kind of feel bad. But missing 2, they've clearly kept a hand that can explode mana at some given point where it is relevant to do so. I am going to Brainstorm first, get my Surveil. I'm trying to pad my hand with additional interaction. Bobble to the graveyard where it belongs. Get rid of Unholy Heat and Lightning Bolt here. This just sees even more cards by playing the Bauble. Fetch, Bauble, Surveil, Brainstorm into the graveyard. I would rather actually Ponder for more looks than... Okay, Daze I'm happy to see. Like, I just want another piece of interaction here more than I want anything else. And Bauble you, Lotus Petal, yep. As if there was any doubt this was some sort of all-in combo deck. Now we know for sure. Force and Daze. I don't know if that'll be good enough against this 8-card hand. Maybe I'm supposed to Daze that. That's actually interesting. If this casts Force of Will, I'll Daze that. Or Dark Ritual, that's what I meant. Alright, Daze that. Clearly their hand is juice, but needed mana to get off the ground, and now they have the mana they were looking for. I'm going to dump Wasteland here. Spirit Guide pays for Daze. If they can get through the Force too, they got me. But at this point, I'm not fighting over anything except the payoff. Force pitching Murktide Regent. And they kept their hand that didn't do anything for a bunch of turns. I don't expect this to work, but I'd be pretty stoked if it does. Yep, there's the Pact. That makes sense given the hand. I hope that one they had to pay for Daze is the one they need to activate Informer. Nope. All right. Yep, just the Patient Fire that beat double counter. All right, this build is different. I see Poxwalkers and 2 Narcomoebas. There is Bridge from Below. How many Poxwalkers are there? 1. All right, I mean, I'm just going to let them do stuff here. Make sure they can actually get to 3 creatures, which they can. Cabal Therapy triggers Poxwalkers and triggers Bridge from Below, which will give them exactly 3 creatures to do what they need to do. We've got Thassa's Oracle. Where's Dread Return? There it is. Okay, I've seen enough. Okay, here we go. To the sideboard for more format knowledge. This is the same thing I did last round with the Abrade that I didn't do game 1 last round, but I should have, or game 2, and I figured it out for game 3. Did I like Lightning Bolt more than Cutter? Was I down to 2 Cutters and Bolt? Okay, I think that works. And let's do it. Maybe with 2 forces, not with 1. I'm going to mulligan. Yikes. All right, we're going to 5. Opponent kept 7. It's already over. Oh, come on, deck. Going to 4. All right, well, that's as good as it can possibly fucking be. Okay, I got to get rid of 3 of these. So Brainstorm, Delver. It's probably Consign, because the Cage is worth 57 cards out of their deck. It's just, they have to belch me now. Boggart Bog, Thoughtseize. This is going to take Delver probably, unless they do have Belcher and they're trying to navigate the Force. But I would prefer to have Delver to Force in my hand right now. Yeah, opponent agrees. And they could just like play Balustrade Spy, target me, and attack me for 10 times, since we're so low on functionality here. Ball Therapy. Well, they know I have Force of Will. They see the Brazen Borrower. Worst spell in my deck, pass the turn. Yeah, they have Boggarts, they have Poxwalkers. There's a bunch of 3-mana things they could just play here. They can't Cabal Therapy with that Poxwalker, luckily. Daze right on time. Yeah, I have to stabilize against this Poxwalker, which is basically just a land does that, thanks to Petty Theft. All right, we're in business. Lotus Petals in. I think I want to Petty Theft this in the end step. I can take the 3 damage to regain the tempo that they don't just instantly recast it. Or if they go like Dark Ritual Belcher post-combat when I can't bounce the Belcher anymore. That's not ideal. Get this guy back out of here. Okay. Now we're racing. And I am still ahead of this race. We're both at 12 with an unblockable 3-1 in play. Is what the end of this turn is going to look like. Okay. They're valuing the Lotus Petal more than the damage race, which is correct because they're not winning that. Okay, well, more damage. Cutter, Channeler, Trigger. They just went from a 4-turn clock to a 3, 2 if I draw any spell. Okay, enough format knowledge to win a game with 4 cards in my hand. Maybe I'll keep one this time. I don't think anything changes on the player draw. 1 cori-steel Cutter feels like the right number, though that did feel terrible to draw. I just don't have other cards I'd want. The only thing left to even think about is, do I want a Pyroblast for the fringe situations where I'm actually going to have enough mana to fight over a Pact Negation? I don't think so. Is that better than Lightning Bolt? But Lightning Bolt has the fringe situations where they have a 2/3 in play that I have to answer. Yeah, okay. This is my deck. And is shit. Gonna mulligan. Alright, this one I'll keep. I'm gonna bottom a Volcanic Island. Opponent's got 5 cards over there. That's enough to make a game out of it. Cabal Therapy resolves. They probably named Force of Will, which is great because I don't have that one. I have the other one. Unless they're a sniper. They could name Grafdigger's Cage, I guess. Yeah, Force of Will. That is the objectively correct name. It just misses this hand in particular. Wasteland versus Develop Delver is actually interesting here because they might just not have mana. But developing Delver also develops Daze. So that's a double win, actually. I'm going to go for Delver here. Ooh, the green lands. They've got the green stuff in here. Cabal Therapy. All right, well, that one's going to work. They had to use their black mana to do that, which is great. And if what cards would have to be in their hand? They have 2 cards over there. They can't play Dark Ritual. And if they have a black source, yeah, I'm going to get a turn at least. And I'm going to get to Wasteland them. Dragon's Rage Channeler, I will not reveal that. I will Wasteland your black source. And then attack you and develop Channeler. Alright, here we go. 1 land versus Daze. Meager pressure versus small number of cards in hand. There's black mana. Come on, Delver. Show me Consigned to Memory, Force of Will. One of the bangers. Volcanic Island's not it. Hate that for me. Attack. Okay, they're just passing back. They're struggling. I'm going to get my Surveil land. Try to get Delver going. Murktide, no. I want spells deck. I have power and toughness. Polluted Delta. Hate my life. Alright. Attack for my 2. I'm getting a little worried here, not going to lie. I was good for a while. Now I'm concerned. They're starting to get to a critical mass of cards where stuff could happen. They know about the Daze, which makes it a lot harder to game with it. I'm going to develop Borrower as a beater. Come on, deck. Big moves, big moves. Consigned to Memory. Ding, 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 ding. All right, we hit 1. Attack my opponent to 2 life, which means they can't Thoughtseize, can't play an untapped land. They have to be Daze and Consigned, both of which they know about. And they can't do it. Once again, demonstrating my superior format knowledge 2 rounds in a row. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw in round 4. No protection, but threats, answers. I'm ready. Blooded Strand, Underground Sea, and Thoughtseize. My guess is they'll take Delver of Secrets from this hand. And if they're combo, they'll take Ponder. If they are Tempo, they'll take Delver. If they're combo, they might still take Delver. Like if this is Doomsday, they might just strip the threat. Okay. Fair enough. Basic Island for me. I'm going to bobble my opponent and try to get a understanding of what they are. Tameo. All right. So could be some sort of Tempo, something or other. Could be Doomsday with Tameo in it. Either way, I'm going to cast Ponder. I'm going to get 2 of these cards. I actually like Wasteland and Lightning Bolt here. All right, no shuffle. Pass. I actually get all of those cards immediately. I draw 1 now, 1 on your turn, the other on my turn. So these are all in my hand. And I have Delirium, so I could even kill Tameo if they flip her. Thoughtseize. All right, look at 3 different cards that kill Tameo. Enjoy that. Taking Chain Lightning over Lightning Bolt's really interesting. That's just the same card, but worse. What was that about? Okay, I'm going to bolt Tameo first. This is to play around Daze. And I'll waste 1 of these lands. Okay. They could play Murktide Regent, but it dies to Unholy Heat. And taking that Chain Lightning is so confusing. Ponder. Didn't shuffle, found a land. 13 life. Another Tamiyo. All right. Cycle Street Wraith. Oh my goodness, that was sick. Okay, so this probably is Doomsday then. Unless this is some crazy ass, like, Death Shadow variant. But that deck wouldn't have 3 Underground Seas in it. It would have more other ones. Okay, what I want to do this turn is play Thundering Falls, but I also want to make sure Tamiyo dies. So I have to play around Daze. I wonder if that was a misclick 2 turns ago, because if they had taken Unholy Heat, Tamiyo would be alive here. But I do strongly now suspect this to be Doomsday. Oh, okay, unless Tempo Reanimator is back on the menu. All right, we have the third Tamiyo of the game is now flipping and doing stuff. Drawing an untapped land here, or it has to be red. Drawing a fetch land or a Volcanic Island here would actually be pretty good for a Steel Cutter or Bauble. Interesting. Okay. Falls. Delver. Do I want Delver? What does that do? I don't think I want Delver. I'm going to play Channeler out. This is enough to threaten Tamiyo. And I have Cutter plus Bolt next turn, which is a huge outpouring of damage all of a sudden. Wow, Murktide. Okay. So they're on just Dimir Tempo with a Reanimate in it? Or is this a Death Shadow deck that sometimes reanimates Street Wraith? What's going on over there? I don't like it. All right, cori-steel Cutter. I have to drop this. All right, forcing me before I Surveil. Daze, you're too late to the party here. And Dragon's Rage Channeler has to attack. I'm going to attack their face, because that's the only thing that even pretends to be useful here. Do I think this game is more likely to be successful if I bolt Tamiyo or try to light up their dome? I'm going to bolt before this Channeler dies so I get the Surveil. Or it goes down to 5, then 7, then down. It buys me... Or no, it goes to 3, 5, 7, then down. It buys me 1 extra turn before they draw their deck. I guess this is the price of doing business. This is how you play against Tamiyo. Preordain, I actually will keep. I think that's better than a random draw. I need to find my 1 Brazen Borrower. And there's not, like, card advantage in this deck. There's not, like, an expressive iteration or anything coming to really change this for me. Right, Preordain. Bottom. Daze, Wasteland gone. Brainstorm, alright. Staying alive. Oh god, that's so bad. Alright, pass the turn, and they can minus Tamiyo, put Force of Will in hand. That makes Murktide 9/9, and it means my next spell won't resolve. They didn't do all that. Not yet. Okay, the old didn't need that damage ribbons. Alright, my opponent's list is kind of strange with the Street Wraith in it. Like, that does make me wonder what else is going on there. Alright, well, look who showed up just in time. They don't actually have to counter this, but it is just deterministically lethal if they did. They just have a bigger Murktide than me. Okay. Pyroblast coming in. Brazen Borrower coming in. These are my answers to Murktide Regent, which is the thing I'm super worried about. These all also help versus Tamiyo, which is the other thing I'm worried about. Barrogoyf out of their sideboard is something I have to worry about. But my Unholy Heats and Brazen Borrowers are there for that. I think this is what I'm doing on the play. I still suspect they might have something bigger going on here. Like, I know some lists have trophied that have like 6 monsters, like 3 Atraxa, 3 Archon, 4 Careful Study. Like, some of that might be going on. We confirmed that Reanimate and Street Wraith are in the deck. I don't really know. But I will keep this. The meta position of Dimir Tempo versus Izzet Tempo. Those are 2 decks that were unaffected by the bans that were already pretty okay before them. I would rather be Izzet Tempo if the previous metagame minus Nadu and Reanimator are just the new metagame. Like, if nothing else emerges, nothing else shifts, I think Izzet is generally better positioned. I would rather be the Thoughtseize deck if decks like Doomsday and Show and Tell creep up from the 2nd tier and become 1st tier. And I would also rather be Dimir in the Tempo mirror because of things like Barrogoyf. All right, I think this is a Lotus Petal deck, or a Doomsday deck. Or else what are we doing here? Some sort of hybrid Doomsday deck. I'll Daze that shit. I don't have a land drop anyway. Okay, immediately replaced my threat. That was pretty lucky. Pretty good draw. Their second land makes Daze a lot worse. Tamiyo, I can handle that on the front or the back. Delver reveals Ponder. Let's go. I do want to Ponder because I'd really like to hit my land drop here. And we did it. I would rather have regular ass mana here than Wasteland them. If they fetch in the end step, I'm going to kill Tamiyo in response when they can't pay for Daze. Okay, they didn't fall for it. I think I have to let them have a clue here. A Brainstorm. This just has to be okay. This is why I saved the Pyroblast. I'll just let Tamiyo finish its cycle, become a Planeswalker plus, then I'll Pyroblast it. I also have Unholy Heat available for that, and I am Delirious. Do I want to draw the Wasteland, or do I want a Surveil? I want a Surveil. Daze. I don't need another Daze. Okay, Pyroblast could defend Unholy Heat. Pyroblast kills Murktide. Unholy Heat also currently kills Murktide. Unholy Heat can kill Barrogoyf, which Pyroblast cannot at all. I'm going to go with Pyroblast over Unholy Heat here. Force pitching Tamiyo. Okay. Unholy Heat. I could also attack. Like, I could just wash out against this Tamiyo for a while and be ready if they top deck a Barrogoyf. Yeah, like if I just touch tips with Tamiyo, she pluses every turn, I attack her for 2 every turn, and Murktide shows up to break the rhythm. Yeah, I think just not losing to Barrogoyf is a good call here. And I can counter a Doomsday if they do have that angle in the deck with my double Daze. Okay, the clue has happened. Tamiyo officially a 2-for-1. Plus Ponder. Shuffled the Ponder. Good news. Another Ponder. We're back in Daze range. If they do come up with a fatal push this turn. Didn't shuffle this Ponder. Thoughtseize. Son of a biscuit. Alright, do I want to lose my Murktide region here? Alright, I think this just has to be fine. Double Daze sets me back so far that I can't play the Murktide anyway. Yeah, they're going to take Murktide here. And then I'm going to heat the Tamiyo in the end step so I can start going face. Yep, Murktide's gone. Alright, I'm going to smoke the Tamiyo and hope they don't have Barrogoyf. But even if they do, I can double Daze it. They currently have no cards in hand. Okay, I am tentatively ahead. Ponder. Hell yeah. Alright. Delver, number 2, with Lightning Bolt on top of the deck. This is a shitload of damage coming at you real fast. And they know they have to beat 2 Dazes. I'm not in good shape versus a Murktide region here. I can beat a Barrogoyf. Alright, yep. I was prepared for this. And this is a fun subgame because if they fetch, they're at 9, which is dead to Bolt. Okay, cool. They passed the subgame. But now they can never crack that fetch land because I'm about to show them Bolt. And they're done. Okay, cool. That game was really just about managing what lines up with what threats. The decision to Unholy Heat versus Pyroblast that Tamiyo when we suspect Barrogoyf is in their deck is a big one. All right, confirmed Barrogoyf is in the deck. I've got 2 heats, 2 borrowers. Do I want any number of force? It won't be 4, but I can see arguments for 1 or 2. And on the draw, Daze is a bit worse. And if they have bangers like Barrogoyf, and I still am not completely convinced they're not a Doomsday deck, some number of Force of Wills makes sense. Chain Lightning is good against Tamiyo and burning their face. I think I'm going to go a second Force there. I just smell a rat. I don't want these in my deck if they're just a Mirror Tempo, but they've shown me Lotus Petal and Street Wraith and the card Reanimate. Something's up. Okay, a slow reactive hand, but lots of sculpting. I'm not going to get mana screwed. I don't think they've shown me a Wasteland yet, which also indicates to me that they're up to something. Swamp. Alright, my thoughts are seized. Are you worried about this Force, or are you worried about my sculpting? Force is gone. Okay, I'm going to bubble them first. I have 2 of these now. That's fun. Bubble you. See what's going on. Ponder. See what's going on. I could bobble myself now, or I could save that for a potential cori-steel cutter. I'm going to ponder and see if I have a cutter coming or not. I don't. I do have a channeler coming. All right, don't shuffle. I have Force Blue card. I am going to save this bauble. It'll get me some value next turn with the Channeler. I draw a Channeler here. I'm going to draw Flooded Strand on my turn, and then hopefully have a big turn of doing stuff. Dothy Voidwalker. That guy kind of sucks. I do have a bunch of removal still in my deck. Yeah, I could just Brainstorm and look for a red spell here. This isn't that bad. All right, Brainstorm. That's a red spell. Not the one I meant, but it plays. I put back Flooded Strand, and I guess this Force of Will kind of sucks at this point, but it could be good in the near future. Am I going to be wastelanding them, or am I going to be spending mana on stuff? I think I'm going to be spending mana on stuff. And I can double spell without the help of cori-steel Cutter. Alright, I will fetch here for another Valk, and then bobble my opponent. I would really like to find one of my lightning bolts to get this Voidwalker off my back. I'm missing out on Delirium. I'm not building up Murktide. These are things I'm not a big fan of. Bobble you. Orcish Bowmaster on top. Alright. Spooky. Brainstorm. Maybe I should have cast that before they drew the Bowmaster. Or maybe I'll force the Bowmaster. We'll see how this goes. Okay, damage is coming in. My haste creatures mean that being behind on the damage race isn't actually a huge deal. Ooh, Wasteland. Okay, Wasteland. Cutter. Force pitching Ponder. This is a great place to Pyroblast. Get myself a 2-for-1. This means Cutter's not triggering this turn, but it's a good exchange. Flusterstorm. That's grody. That can't target Cutter, though, which means I can win this fight. Right, force pitching. Brainstorm, target your force. Alright, we both got 2-for-1s that turn. That ended up washing out. And Cutter's in. I am going to need to draw a spell before that matters. There's a lot of stuff in the void. If they want to Brainstorm, Ponder, or Pyroblast, those are things they could do. Ooh, okay. They're interested. Yeah, they're just brainstorming, giving up their pressure, unlocking my graveyard to brainstorm. I like this. This is good for me. That is the fear put into them by cori-steel Cutter. Voidwalker doesn't block it and might not be able to race it depending on the quality of my hand here. Yes, all right. Ponder's good. If it finds another land, it gets a lot worse. I'm just trying to figure out about this Bowmaster situation. Okay, they shuffled the library and missed. All right, deck, time for a spell. A spell, almost any spell. Hell yeah. I'm going to start by wasting your ass. That's happening. Dragon's Rage Channeler. I will develop my land and then cast Ponder. Okay. Suddenly, gaming. Right, Fatal Push, you got it. Surveil sees Lightning Bolt. I actually do want that. Yo, okay. We're going to go Bolt, Delver, Bolt, no shuffle. And what this does is next turn I can play Delver, Bolt their face, and I have a Lightning Bolt on top of the deck to flip Delver. This is insane damage output, and I know they missed a land drop last turn. Okay, they ripped the land. They're showing me Orcish Bowmaster, which can pick off my poor sweet Delver. I'm just going face, fuck it. It is not my plan to kill Orcish Bowmaster. It's my plan to kill my opponent in spite of Orcish Bowmaster. So I'm just casting my spells. I will have to make a tough decision if I actually want to draw Lightning Bolt next turn. I guess I do. There's not a lot of cards better than that, especially with my opponent at 6. All right, here's this one. That's going to kill Delver. And then next turn I just attack with Bolt in my hand and see how they want to handle that. No, don't play Barrogoyf right now. Oh my god. Oh no, it's happening! Shit, the whole game just ate shit. Alright. Well, now I have to take a wild Surveil and hope for Barrogoyf or Unholy Heat. Okay. Did I say Barrogoyf? I meant Brazen Borrower. In answer to Barrogoyf. Alright, deck. We're looking at a 4-outer here. Big money. That's not it. Deck, please. My family is starving. No! Alright. What a battle. And it came down to the card Barrogoyf. Which, I mean, we're not done yet, just... That was tough. The Lotus Petal. The surprise Lotus Petal. I still don't know why they have Lotus Petal, Straight Wraith, and Reanimate in their deck, but Lotus Petal has affected the mana count of this otherwise fair game twice now. What the hell is this? Another Bowmaster? Alright, that makes it even worse for me. Now I lose my small monk, and in order to not get barrow blasted, I have to chump. Alright, block, and Murktide Regent is an okay draw here. GG. Alright. Stolen by the Barrowgoyf with the layup by Lotus Petal. Opponent went from 1 mana to 3 to play the only card in the matchup that matters. That was actually pretty sick. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in the final round. Positive records lock. Playing for the bread and butter 4-1. I am, of course, going to keep this hand. My opponent said hello again. And there's a number of people I've played against more than once in my life, which is fine. I'm just wondering if I played against them already this league. This is not even my first league I've recorded today, so it could be anyone. I'm going to save the bauble to bauble myself and get 2 looks at Delver. Verdant Catacombs. Alright, it's not an Oops All Spells player. This isn't my round 1 Storm opponent, is it? Okay, they're passing to me. Bauble myself sees Wasteland, which means I'm going to stack the draw before the look. Draw the Wasteland, see Delver of Secrets. Alright, I will not reveal that. Draw for my turn. Thundering Falls. Sees Polluted Delta, get rid of that. Play another Delver. I'm just swinging for the fences. Whatever this slow development is, let's keep it that way. Verdant Catacombs number 2. If this is a fair matchup, I feel like I'm in great position. If they suddenly start storming out, I don't feel like I'm in a great position. Tropical Island. Underground Sea. Orcish Bowmaster, son of a bitch. Alright, well, that sucks. Okay. I did play against 4-color Aloran in a different league earlier today. I wonder if that's who this is. Alright, I'm just gonna let Delver do his thing. Alright, revealed Ponder. We did it. Had it the whole time. I've always been here. I'm gonna Unholy Heat Bowmaster because Lightning Bolt can go face at some point, and that would make me pretty happy. That's worth a Force of Will pitching Tameo to them. Hell yeah. I also have Lightning Bolt. I think I'm more worried about black than green. That's a removal color. And attack. Alright, we're cooking. We're doing Delver stuff. They know I have Ponder in my hand. They don't know about Brainstorm. Brainstorm of your own. Orc Army attack. And no land. That's a Brainstorm lock. Let's go. Ponder. Go. Alright. Bangers all around. Alright, don't shuffle. Do play my land. Do play my Channeler. I'm not going to play this Brainstorm, and I'm not going to fetch. Next turn, I'll go Cori-steel Cutter, Brainstorm, attack for a trillion. Okay, cool. Delvered them out. We saw Bug Mana and Orcish Bowmaster. I don't want to make any crazy assumptions that they're on 4-color Aloran, because I actually just don't remember who I was playing against at that time. We saw blue colors. Price of Progress. Haven't gotten to bring this one in yet. We saw black, which means Barrowgoyf probably. I think I'm going to shave some combination of Force of Wills and Dazes to get Pyroblast in. Fire Magic kills Orcish Bowmaster. And just in case, it kills Recruiter of the Guard. And Arctic Merfolk. Alright. Fire Magic's coming in. I think I'm going to shave a Chain Lightning. Okay, I'm not quite sure what they're doing. I'm just going to keep it light for now. Okay. No mana in a gorgeous hand, gonna mulligan. Okay, here we go. Mana in a hand that is less gorgeous, but still plays. I'm gonna bottom a Valk here. That Wasteland was Murder Town last round. They said they're a little bit rusty because they haven't played for 6 months. The Entomb ban got them back. Love that. A Forest. Oh, we're doing this. Alright. I don't think I played against this opponent earlier today. Alright, Dragon's Rage Channeler. Bauble, Trigger. I don't want this Polluted Delta. Good chance I'm going to get a basic island and play for free here. Bauble you. Endurance. Yikes. Alright. This matchup, honestly, is a little bit scary. If they can kill this Engineered or Veteran Explorer and go where they want to go here, I'm in a lot of trouble. And I have 2 of the same card in my hand, which is a huge tilt, which means if they Cabal Therapy me, they'll probably, like, Brainstorm is one of the cards. Brainstorm or Force of Will are usually what you blind name with Therapy, but the flashback is guaranteed to get 2 bolts. Luckily, they did not have any of that. All right, I would like to get flying this turn. Oh, I drew my basic. I don't have to keep it, though. I could just cast Preordain and then bolt their face, and that's a shitload of damage, and I'll have Delirium. Oh, Daze is not good, actually. I want Force of Will, or I could just be patient. I actually can't be patient now because my creature has to attack. Like, they could pitch cast Endurance and then block here. All right, got away with that. I am going to pass holding up the goods. Cori-steel Cutter coming down next turn. Though I don't even want that. I should have bolted. Oh, I can still do it. I can do it anytime. It's fine. It's fine. You're all panicking. Don't worry about it. All right, that mana doesn't cast Endurance. It does cast Cabal Therapy, which means I'm cooked. And I have 2 of the same card in my hand, basically. 2 copies of 2 different cards. I'm going to dump Cori-steel Cutter. And I'm going to put back 2 bolts. I just can't afford to get 3 for 1 to buy this thing. And I'm about to be in a lot of trouble. Though I can Unholy Heat Endurance before its trigger resolves, and that gives me a chance. Each player may search. Okay, so they named Force on the front. Oh, if they name Unholy Heat on the back, then Endurance is free to run Roughshod. So I might want... Do I want to shuffle away these 2 bolts? No, I don't, actually. I'm trying to burn them out. That is the game plan here. I love that they folded so hard game 1 to Wasteland that I valued it, and now they're a Nick Fit deck with 4 basic lands in play. Okay, do you want Unholy Heat or Brainstorm? I think those are the 2 reasonable choices here. All right, they did name Brainstorm. Are we going to see a main phase Endurance before I can heat it? Or something way worse? Are they going to, like, choke me? Or Carpet of Flowers into Endurance? I don't have to attack the Endurance main phase, though. Little game of cat and mouse here. But they've seen my hand and I haven't seen theirs, so I assume that they're the cat in this situation. Yep, there it is. All right, my graveyard's gone. There is a lightning bolt on top of my deck, and a lightning bolt under that on top of my deck. I'm going to draw this bolt. I'm going to Thundering Falls the other bolt into the graveyard. And I'm just going to pass the turn. Tundra. Oh, baby. Oh, wow. This is the Aloran player from earlier today. We figured it out. Okay. I played a whole match against this opponent in a different league, and I didn't see any of the Veteran Explorer stuff. I do actually remember this White Border Swamp. They played that in our match earlier today. Baleful Strix, hate that. Pernicious Deed, hate that too. Hate it all. We hate every single thing that's going on here. All right, what I got to do here is bolt their face in the end step, get Delirium to where I could kill Endurance. All right, yeah, creature into the graveyard. That's 2 card types. Wasteland can guarantee a 3rd. I'm going to bolt in the upkeep because this is every draw matters. Land, not helpful. Looking for a sorcery. Ponder. Oh, Bauble, let's go. We did it. All right. I'm going to need a follow-up threat. So I will actually keep this. Put that on top. Bauble you. Aether Channeler. Yikes. Unholy Heat. The Endurance. I just said I need that. Oh, but they have Baleful Strix. What am I even doing? All right. Actually, this doesn't help versus Baleful Strix. I should have identified that sooner than I did. Get you to 6. I have 1 Lightning Bolt left in my deck. And I can at least take you off of a color here. All right. I'm in bad shape all around. Ooh, Pyroblast. That can kill the Strix, but the deed is still here to be done. Honestly, if this metagame gets to a point where Baleful Strix is a good card again, I'll be pretty stoked. My Fire Magic is in, right? Yeah, it is. All right. Fire Magic's actually nice here. That kills every creature they're showing me. If the last unknown card in their hand is Aloran, they actually just win here. Cavern Harpy. Okay. So that has to pick up the Strix, which is great for me. That puts them into the spot where they have to bust Deed, or just like block bounce with Cavern Harpy. Oh my god. If they try to block bounce with Cavern Harpy, they're actually going to lose the game here. Because they block. They pay a life. I Pyroblast Harpy in response. If they want to save it, they gotta pay another life, and then I bolt them. The 4-bolt special? Did we do it? They're counting the bolts in my graveyard. I've got bad news for you. We know their hand is Baleful Strix, Aether Channeler. I did board out Chain Lightning, right? Yeah, okay. And I didn't bring in Price of Progress. They said in the chat, have we drawn all the bolts? I regret to inform you, yes, we have. Unholy Heat to the graveyard. Okay, smart. Discipline lay down there. I mean, I'm happy to have killed a Cavern Harpy. That makes it a lot harder for them to combo off, but at least they didn't just snap die. Oh, no! All right. Oh, we had such a moment there for them to make a mistake, and they didn't. And Uro was the draw for turn. Though, if they had tapped differently, though they didn't know they were drawing a land. Okay. Yeah, 7 life, I don't know how I win anymore. Well played, opponent. You found the gap. So what do I have to do now? I have to cori-steel cutter, overrun Baleful Strix somehow, but Pernicious Deed is still just sitting here in play. All right, this game is not winnable anymore. A tight one, that was so close. Okay, this is the Bant Aloran player from earlier. And they're also apparently Nickbit, which I did not know until right now. I don't trust in Daze against this deck at all. Price of Progress versus the amount of basics they play is questionable, but anything to burn them out from a high life total is worth considering. Brazen Borrower interacts with permanence and is a threat. I do like Fire Magic even more than I thought I did, knowing that I might have to beat some Baleful Strixes. I think I want Price of Progress more than I want Chain Lightning. It means I gotta cut one more card. Pyroblast is worse than I thought it was, but it's still pretty good. I'll leave 2 of them in, and let's do it. On the play with no lands, I'll mulligan that. Deck, please. All right, we're going to 5. All right, still hate it, but I'll keep. I'm going to put a bolt. It's probably just both bolts. That sucks, but okay. Thundering Falls. Cori-steel cutter, sweet. All right, well, now I'm not going to bobble. I've got a plan. Tamiyo. I don't want to play against that card. I also don't want to spend Force of Will this early. All right, you have Tamiyo. Cutter. Bobble. Bobble you. Drawing basic forest. I'm going to attack. Wonder if this opponent will play around a 0 mana spell. Nope. There aren't really 0 mana spells in the deck. Not any that I'd play mid-combat anyway. Ponder. That gets me closer to triggering Cutter, and it at least gets the first monk to 3. Catacomb. Alright, Tamiyo is off blocking duty here. It's on clue duty. Cluedy, you could say, if you're an idiot. Which I am. Basic Swamp. Baleful Strix. Alright, I mean, Cori-steel cutter lines up well against Baleful Strix. I have Trample, and my creatures just poop out of the thin air. Okay, I'm gonna ponder and try to hit the land and try to go double here. I could just Pyroblast the Strix and be done with it. I don't really want to play like that. Ooh, I want all this shit. I don't get it all, unfortunately. Okay, don't shuffle. Flooded Strand, fetch. This is actually interesting, whether I should Pyroblast Tamiyo and try to outmuscle the Strix, or Pyroblast the Strix and try to ignore Tamiyo. Tamiyo is actually a better blocker. The Strix can eat one of the monks, but the second monk's already free. Like, the Strix drew a card on its way in, the monk was created out of nothing. I think I'm actually going to go for Tamiyo here. Got my Volcanic Island. We're going to Pyroblast Tamiyo. It is nice to have a threat in Delver that is so disrespectful of Baleful Strix that we can do this. Okay, no block. Waste the Tundra. They could be valuing that Strix to flashback a Cabal Therapy with, or betting that there will be a more useful creature later, like a Murktide it could tangle with. I'm extremely interested in drawing a Ponder or Brainstorm this turn. Those are the spells that actually matter here. Well, there it is. And they have Orcish Bowmaster in their deck, but I have Force of Will in my hand. Yeah, this is sick. Brainstorm. Looking for the goods. And by the goods, I mean any spell I could cast. Lightning Bolt. Heck yeah, Lightning Bolt. Okay. Wasteland, Brazen Borrower, go back. Lightning Bolt. Face or Strix? Lightning Bolting Strix is actually worth a lot more damage now than going face. because the Strix can block a 3/3 this turn, which is the same damage, and that 1/1 with prowess won't be in play in future turns. So it's the same as bolting face this turn and then becomes worse every subsequent turn. I got 8 damage coming through. Pernicious Deed does kill all my monks, but I can force that. They have to have land deed force backup to stabilize against that. All right, opponent's at 6. They ate their clue. Can we get over? Fuck off to that too. That's actually worse than Pernicious Deed. All right, don't force me back. All right, deck. I just need to draw any spell I could cast. I actually know I'm drawing Brazen Borrower. Shit, there's nothing to Petty Theft. Okay. That's fine. Put you to 2, and if they put a permanent into play, like they have another Barrogoyf, I could Petty Theft that. I can't Petty Theft Pernicious Deed, though, because it'll be available to activate. Ponder. All right, I'm getting scared. I know my top card is Wasteland, which could either take out the Trop or cast Brazen Borrower, depending on how I need to play the next couple turns. And they just didn't find what they needed. Barely over the finish line for a 4-1 record. GG's. Okay, I mean, Delver, rock solid. If you've been playing Legacy a long time, you don't even have to learn new play patterns. This deck is what it always has been. Cori-steel Cutter, I guess, is the newer play pattern. If you haven't messed around in the Delver space since Reanimator became the best deck 2 years ago, you might not have been playing with Steel Cutter. This is one that holding back baubles and holding back cantrips and setting up turns with this one actually is something you have to think about a little bit. But otherwise, you're just trying to deal 20 while you keep them off balance with Wastelands and free permission. It's powerful, proactive, reliable, classic Legacy stuff, and it's good right now. It has solid game versus the all-in combo decks. We didn't play against any Ancient Tomb decks, but it's good against those. And the weak spot is Barrogoyf, but if you play with Barrogoyf in mind, keep your Unholy Heats back, board in your Brazen Borrowers when you might expect it, you can find the spots to wiggle through. Defeated Oops All Spells twice this league. Those weirdos are going to start creeping back out of the woodwork. Let's push them right back down into the hole. Don't forget your Graveyard Hate. Don't let them run roughshod over the format now that Reanimator's gone. We lost to the card Barrogoyf, which is the nightmare for decks like this. You need a plan for it. And there was lots of small decision making. Every Surveil trigger is a decision. Every fetch is a decision because you have Surveil, Dual Land, or basic you could get. Mishra's Bauble. When do I play it and who do I target? All that matters. So many tiny decisions in this deck. I love Delver. I love when Delver is the top deck of the format. A lot of people get tired of the Daze, Wasteland, Shell, and those play patterns, but at the end of the day, if one of Magic's most powerful formats is about attacking and blocking, without a combo kill, without any lockout stuff, there's no Chalice, there's no Show and Tell, there's no Blood Moon, this is just put damage on the board, make a plan over multiple turns to push damage until your opponent runs out of stuff to do, or runs out of life points. That's a solid place to have a best deck in a broken format. Entomb, rest in piss, we don't miss you. Anonymous, thanks for the chance to play the new format and start my Eternal Weekend testing. My default, if I don't find anything else I'm in love with, is probably just Izzet Delver. But there are a lot of cool decks right now, and I will be playing them all in the coming weeks over the channel as I prepare for Eternal Weekends, Italy and Japan. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time.